But just to transition, I'm going to first just read one section from Styrofoam, a book I wrote a few years ago, entirely about plastic. So I'll just read the first section. It's called Hence Mystical Cosmetic Over Sunset Landfill. Answer, Styrofoam deathlessness. Question, how long does it take? And all the time singing in my throat, little dead Greek lady in your eternity saddle, hat 59% acrylic, 41% motacrylic, ornamental trim 24% polyvinyl, 76% polyamide, and holding a vial enwrapped. Enter 8, 9, 14, 17 ethanyl, 13 methyl, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 15, 16 octahydrocyclopentadiol, aka environmental sources of hormonal activity. Side effects include tenderness, dizziness, and aberrations of the vision. Oh, please just pass the pass-out juice now. Answer. It is a misconception that materials biodegrade in a meaningful time frame. Answer. Thought to be composters, landfills are actually vast mummifiers of waste and waste companions, low, stunning, all-color, heap-like, and manifold of foam. 1. A mass of fine bubbles on the surface of a liquid. 2. A light cellular material resulting from the introduction of gas during manufacture. 3. Frothy saliva. 4. The sea, lit, which can be molded into almost anything and cousin to things artistic. Kristen J., a low oven and a watchful eye turns bits of used plastic meat trays into keychain ornaments. Monica T., soft and satisfying for infant teething if you first freeze. Posted 10/11/2007 at thriftyfund.com, hosted by FPPG, the Food Service Plastic Packaging Group. All this formation and deformation, and barely able to see beyond the dense congregation of species successful in environments where the diversity of plants and animals has been radically diminished. For all averred, we had killed the bird. Enter albatross stand-in of choice. Hence this mood of moods, this fucked flux, yuck, lux crux, broken piece of lamp garbage, sunset 400 lux. LCD computer screen 300 lux, full moon 0.25 lux, starlight 0.0005 lux. That which falls outside the spectrum, Antarctic fowl, cherubim, and dearest docent, holding hands for the briefest moment of shared materiality among long-term heritage styrene. Gee, this stationary particulate cloud actually improves the sunset. What the sea brought, polyflotsam, foam, and flown, a kind of slime with polystyrene beads in it that can be used to transform almost any object into a unique work of art. Excuse my post-holiday illness, but I think I'll read for the rest of the time from this newer book, Apocalypso. I wrote this book mostly during a winter where I was obsessed with Robert Browning's truly strange poem, Child Roland to the Dark Tower Came, and also watching the TV series Battlestar Galactica. So this first section takes the form of a series of memos. It's called Dream Quest Malware. Timestamp, ZMT 77104, report from build site 423. It is windy terrible, and the time frame comfort slot so doted over keeps hurtling. Today, 12 chapped columns, 3-quartered globes, 244 knuckled sheets, and the Scalp Dome project lays waivers. Astonishingly, the corner tear is backlit in dreamlight, and this night after night. Still, we keep pouring digital spit into this blog storage device, having unboxed the box permanently. Yours sincerely. Timestamp ZMT 77243. Report from build site 8255. Miss T, it was a shock that you would send this ignition system instead of the slogan infestation compressed we had explicitly requested. What exactly was your intent? Nonetheless, we animated the chamber and discovered the delicate filigree of the disaster end, a very affordable solution. Now we can display the entire series, Barbarism Star, Barbarism Square, Barbarism Float Debris. Timestamp ZMT 82048, report from build site 731, also known as glove stab. Yet more ugly workdays marked by ceaseless moral deficiency showers, of which, however, our terror has lessened. Many just let the face fall into a skin flap of personal life. This is why I decided to erect the pity stations so that each could enact their sorrow intact. 44 liquid squares, 3,000 circumvention rods, 2 mush buildings. Timestamp ZMT 86113, report from build site 47. Today, each program type error conveniently took place on one of 1001 moment balconies. And for a minute, I wanted to write monumental ballets. Restart then, 93 extrusion perfections, 312 atonement antennas. I am so lonely I've been talking to my software for 3 years. To the authorities, RE civil seriousness. So we are now a people and call ourselves the people, going home on a compressed path toward the vision replacement apparition. But whether it is destroyed or just shrinks upon approach still confuses us. To the authorities, RE dismissals, telling them again and again, stay, intruding into limp corridors to find the stump ends, for we are social and the animals are blown fragments. For the rest of the time, I'm going to read from the long poem in this book, but I am going to keep to about 20 minutes because we have a long ways to go tonight. This book is called Apocalypso, a Comedy, and it has 2 epigraphs, one which is from the biblical book of Revelation. Whosoever is not found written in the book of life will be cast into the lake of fire. And the other one is actually from David Book, who probably some of you might know. It's from his faux guidebook, Buried Treasure Island. Thus, strange verb tenses must be enacted. These are those things that will have had to have been, that will have had to yet occur. And as some of you know, the book of Revelation is attributed generally to John of Patmos, who kind of is a character throughout this. And then it has one kind of pseudo-epigraph. And I became the Alpha and the Omega, and my little dog too. Come, and I'll show you what once shall have taken place after this, forever and ever and ever, etc., at which I took my glue gun from its hipster holster, and 24 elders began to sing. 8 swimming creatures covered with eyes, state of the ocean, check. 16 birds with sinister wings, state of the flyways, checkers. But even the end of Evolve Love, I was down with the animals. Then the 24 fell down, clad in white garments and wearing golden crowns. This is the Revised Standard Sedition Edition, Chapter 4, verses 1 through 10, in which enumeration equals a technique of calm. 3, 2, 1, we are calm. So many pretty rebels in these devastation pictures. Head is mollusk shell, whale with insect tail, and a twig become a tiny musician fingering a stringy box. As I scan my eschatologue, covering that part of the language concerned with reckoning and the destiny of survivor species. For he poured his bowls of wrath on the earth, and a great star fell onto the rivers. This sympathy is a revelation too. I greet you as friends, every one. I know your faith and patient endurance. But this is my complaint and counter-argument, that he has abandoned the love he had at first, and unleashed the dog of my darkest humor to devour the chapters that verseth. I will spew you out, he says. This is chapter 3, verse 16. Because you are lukewarm. Because you are a lukewarm worm of the phylum Annelid among the grass and the lilies, order Lilialis, genus Lilium. And how, by being anxious, can a warm wormhole add 1 cubit to the span of life? This is his good cop voice. Do not be tense for tomorrow, he says, for nothing dates faster than the present future. So I turn instead to the rap of him who has the 7 spirits and the 7 rats. Oops, cancel that transliteration. Of course it's stars, R-A-T-S plus 1 extra S. For vermin, you are the name of being alive. This is chapter 3, verse 1. And I mean to vindicate the innocent and address vermin love words to the 7 rats of the 7 stars. I can smell them when they are present, the very nice exterminator said. Here's a favorite poem, rediscovered at ubuweb.com. Garbage event, daybreak, Borneo. 1. Pigs and chickens feed on the grass in an inhabited area until it is bare of grass. 2. Garbage is added to the area. 3. The participants defend the abandoned beauty and town quality of the environment against all critics. For we have stepped into the sacred areas and wept over our waste procedures, which will have been being our transcendence. This is the revels shared commonly. Now back to our story of tribulation endurance, or is it tribal divergence on this island most pat? As we were just about to cross the George Washington Bridge, excuse me, a question while we are driving, I said, John, I said, what do you have anyway against historical time? Disturbed just a bit today by my own privilege screen comfort mechanisms, swear to smash their cockroach footprints. But delete this derogation of phylum Arthropod, order Blattaria, with so many genera, including the oriental roach, Blatta orientalis, and the American, Periplaneta americana, and some, especially in the genus Ectobius, which are small, temperate species that live outdoors. And in that phrase, I find my home page, singing Loving My Vermin, singing Sunniest Day, dancing my aptest apt dance under these apocalypso rays. This evening, I'm feeling approximately 60% female, 40% male, 33% Homo sapiens, 33% Serpentes squamata, rather protista, part erectus, somewhat prostratus, or maybe mostly musculus, genus mouse, species house, our friends. Little acrobats participating in our project of universal plant and animal redemption. The friends greet you, greet the friends, every one of them. To she who conquers, to she, he who conquers, I will grant to eat of the tree of life. Good angel eats the book. To she, he who conquers the tree, I will grant to eat the world. Bad angel, utter demolishment. To she who conquers the world, what a waste of time. Eat some history, is gone quickly. We're just now passing through security, carrying as much fruit of the tree of knowledge as possible. How I love my apple. But I have this against you brand name. I have this against you product description. I have this against you obsession with the whore of Babylon and every other movie made by man. Her, I hereby redesignate a victim of privilege screen comfort mechanisms. Thus she shall be clad in white garments, and I will unblot her name in the book of life. This is chapter 3, verse 5, revisited. Every morning reveals another crevice of this denatured nature canvas. Today a sea of glass. Chapter 15, verse 2. For they have opened the new aquarium and embraced the principles of my stingray version of the Beatitudes. Blessed are the bottom dwellers who are pure among the lightless. Blessed are the predators, for they are innocent but violent. And in the next tank, the sea slugs, unearthly in fluorescent ruffles, scour the shallow waters, while above their heads Medusa lowers a tangle of stinging tentacles. Nembrotha, Godiva, Chromodorus daphne. Let's read out of our bestiaries, beloveds. But we are getting rather out of order, still holding the bomb in our clock hands. I mean the tsunami, I mean the flood, I mean the hurricane that pummels the poor and the weak, as a voice in the midst of chapter 6, verse 8, is speaking building codes, deficient regulatory powers, international aid diversions, and the darkest rider in both legal and equestrian senses. It flails its financial instrument vehicle with fiscal irresponsibility reins. And a third of the waters became wormwood, and many died because they were made bitter. Now the scabbed flowers dropped to the ground, and the grass broke into thousands of pieces. The sun was black with eagle weeping, and the sea thick with apo-oceanic scum. And the flowers of the apocalypse, stalky, ashen, broken, caked, with coral reef skeletal remnants and the dust of lichen that grows in the tundra, lay at the feet of Our Lady of Apocalypso, who says no return to that home page while playing a steely drum. So I told him to give me the little scroll, and he said to me, "Take, eat. It will be sour to your stomach, but sweet as honey in your mouth." And I ate the words literally as the sirens geared up, class Mammalia, order Sirenia, with only 4 remaining species, and my companion animal, confused by the prospectus of Cerberus Capital Management, one of the most experienced distressed market investors, started barking in a frenzy as if the world were coming to an end. At which 8 armies arrayed in fine linen, note preoccupation with luxury goods, appeared behind an angel on a white horse, note symbolic color markers, and each on his collar had a name inscribed, Logos, thy name is trademark. And a call went out to the scavengers to gather for a great supper, at which was served the flesh of those on the side of the beast, and of the false prophet who had worked the false signs. And beneath the howling and shrieking, a low, familiar voice was singing, "The whirlwind is in the thorn tree." I just really love those late Johnny Cash CDs. Place, city on a hill, obsession, lampstands, temporary housing, bushels. And I shivered as he said, "Everyone who is angry with his brother shall be liable." So I called to clear up that misunderstanding, lucre, 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 and was put on hold. So I went on safari to consult the Mindspring Oracle, but was stymied by a bad gateway. But this is a love poem anyway. It is extraordinarily physical. I am loving my enemies. I am loving my neighbors. I take them into my mouth. I eat their book. Sucre, sucre, sucre. And the final finch alights on the fixation dirt, pouring its life breath over the grass tips. Version 1. And the strange bird of the emergent species waits on the periphery for the next century. Version 2. As we dip our fingers into a language stream, cool as an evolutionary explanation of altruism. O sirens, O cow pasture, O rescue vehicles, ceaselessly seeking the real emergency beneath the emergencies. This is how what will have been being a diversion merged instead into a vision of preliminary descent. While sleeping on your carbon cushion, flight 267, New York from Kiev, dreaming dark diagnosis of sparrow, dreaming dim prognostication of entrails, dreaming strange guy in the aisle seat, seemingly overwhelmed by difficulties. You too, John, should get some rest. Thank you, friends, for your love and endurance. This is the end of our revelatory revels. Thank you very much.